Good morning and welcome to the Federal Home Loan Bank Digital Transformation Webinar. We're glad that you joined us this morning. My name is Gant Welborn. I'm the Director of Product Administration and Lending here at the Federal Home Loan Bank. With me today is Kellee Tinsley, who is our Member Support Analyst. She handles our agreements, including the new Master Transaction Agreement, or what we call the MTA. We want to emphasize two big takeaways in this meeting. First is getting the MTA back to us by May 3rd. That's only 3 weeks from today, so please get started on this if you haven't already. The other is to get your users set up with all the proper roles in members only by May 3rd. And as we go through today's presentation, please put any questions you have into the chat and we'll try to answer them as we go. If we get too many, then we may have to just go through the presentation and then we'll answer them at the end of the presentation. So let's start with the MTA. We have sent several communications over the past 6 months on our digital transformation. We've also created a resource page that we hope has been helpful for you. The dashboard here in members only has a digital transformation block that links you to this resource page on our public website. This resource page also contains links to the MTA and to the enrollment form that needs to be submitted in Adobe Sign. So let's start with the MTA. What we need from you, if you have not done so already, is to take the MTA to your board and ask them to review and adopt the 4 associated resolutions. I'll highlight those here at the bottom of this page. So within the enrollment form, there lists these 4 resolutions. Again, this needs to happen within the next 3 weeks or by May 3rd to avoid interruption in Federal Home Loan Bank services. So what we need is have someone at your institution complete the top section of the form. And I'll jump over. So here's the enrollment form that is the last 3 pages of the Master Transaction Agreement, but it is in a separate Adobe Sign form for your convenience so that you can complete this and get it submitted. This will allow someone at your institution to complete the top section of the form and designate at least 2 individuals to be administrators. Once they've assigned their administrators on this section here, this will allow them to click submit. Once submit is clicked, a box will pop up asking them to assign the person that is authorized to submit the MTA, which is your board secretary. I will note that the board secretary can fill out the first section, enter their own information into the box and click next. This will send an email to the authorized signer, which could be themselves, and allows them to enter their information, sign and date the form. At the very bottom of the page, enter the date that the resolution was adopted by the board of directors. And please note that the date that they sign the enrollment form must be on or after the date the board adopted the resolutions, and the board adoption date cannot be in the future or prior to February 6th, which was the date on which this new agreement was first published. Once this section is completed, click the submit button and the form will be emailed to us at Federal Home Loan Bank with a copy emailed to the individuals who completed the form. We will then add the member admin role to those individuals designated on the form as administrators for your institution. Once your MTA is submitted and we have set up your administrators, you're done with this step. So I'll pause here to see if there's questions and we will try to answer them in the chat. All right, let's move on to the members only piece. Hopefully you are aware of where to go on our public website to log into members only, or ideally you have it bookmarked as a favorite. And here it is on our screen to sign into members only. As current member admins, everyone should have access to this new user admin tab and members only. And this screen hopefully is familiar to you. If not, it will be soon. This is our new screen that lets you add, edit roles, and delete users when necessary. You'll notice the check marks on the screen, throughout the screen. This indicates the current roles assigned to your users. You'll also notice a plus sign on the screen. This indicates that another admin at your institution has submitted a request to add a role to a user. A minus sign means that a user role has been requested to be removed. Additionally, the font on the name and the username will be in teal in these cases. This tells the other admins that an action is required. They will also receive an email notification of this change request. In this example, the rates 2 role has been added to Janet Anderson's account by an admin, and a second admin must approve or reject the request. As the second admin in this scenario, I can click on the pencil, and this icon allows me to review Janet's roles. And you'll notice as I hover over the pencil, it says view pending request. Okay. You will see at the bottom a message that states the expiration date of the request. Every request has 5 business days to act before the request automatically expires and the user account goes back to the way it was before the request was submitted. Excuse me. If I approve of the addition of the rates role, I can click approve request. If not, I can click reject. For this example, I'll approve the request. Once approved, a notification email will go to Janet that her account has changed, and a separate email notification will go to all the admins informing them of the approval. And you'll notice at the top of the screen that this request for Kellee Tinsley has been approved. The next example shows an account where I was the first admin and submitted a request. Again, I click on the pencil, and this icon shows that a pending request is available. And now at the bottom, because I've submitted this request, there are 2 messages that appear. One shows my request was to delete this account. The other shows the expiration date of my request. You'll also notice that I do not have the approve request or reject request buttons because I was the original submitter, and therefore I cannot approve or reject my own request. However, I can, whoops, excuse me, I'm on the wrong one. I apologize. I apologize, having technical difficulties here with our internet. Well, I'm going to jump ahead here. I apologize. In this example, this account was deleted. So I have the ability, again, as a second admin to delete this request. And I have, as you can see, until April 17th before this request expires. So I will approve this request as well. And you'll notice now that both the accounts that I have approved have turned to black font, which means I'm done with that particular request for that user. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, there are visual cues on the screen, like the plus and minus signs and the teal color. Another color that will likely appear on the name and username is green. It's highlighted here on the screen. Between now and May 3rd, you will likely see some or most of your users in green. This means an admin needs to review the current roles and submit a request, even if no changes are needed to the roles. This will send an email notification to the other admins informing them to approve this user account. This is needed for two reasons. It solves a technical purpose for us to populate our database with the information on the account. And we want to make sure also that you have reviewed all of your users prior to May 3rd. So again, all green users will be removed on May 3rd. So please make sure that you get in there and review all of your users and take an action on all of your users. Your goal as admins is to ensure that all of your users are in black and that all have been assigned the number 2 roles. And this has to be done before May 3rd. If you currently have 2 admins, we highly recommend that you get this step done today, even if you have not sent us your MTA. Once all users are in black and all number 2 roles have been assigned, you are done with this step. This is what the screen will look like beginning May 6th, the morning of Monday, May 6th. And you'll notice all the 1s and 2s are now gone. It's much cleaner, less cluttered, easier to navigate. And all of the check marks, again, show which roles that the users have. A few frequently asked questions that we have received over the past, over the past few months. First, why can't I submit the MTA enrollment form? Once you complete all the fields on the form, again, click submit, and this will bring another box up asking you for an email address. That's where you input your board secretary email address and click submit again so that it goes to your board secretary for them to complete that enrollment form as part of the MTA. Second question, how do I print the MTA enrollment form? As part of our digital transformation process, we are requiring electronic signatures. We are not allowing wet signatures to be sent to us. So the MTA enrollment form must be electronically signed through Adobe Sign. And then this is probably the question that we've had the most and seen the most. Can one member admin make changes? And as part of our security controls, we're requiring 2 member admins to affect any change to a user account. These are controls that we've put in place to protect you and to protect us, to ensure that every user has the appropriate role and that member admins have the proper authority and responsibility to assign those roles. I know Kelly has been feverishly typing to some of the questions that are in the chat. Are there any questions that we need to go over that would be helpful, Kelly?
Well, there's a few that I have not answered yet. So one question is, if you are not a current admin but will be added, can the newly added admin be the one who makes the MTA user changes before May 3rd, or do those changes need to be made by a current admin? So, okay, if you are not a current admin but would like to be before your MTA enrollment form has been submitted, we have the administrator setup form. There's a link to that on the Accessing Members Only page. It's in Members Only. It is the page that you see before you click login. There is a link that says Administrator's Form. You can complete that and send it in. And then at that point, you will be able to make changes to your users and to the roles before the May 3rd date. If you are not being added until the MTA, this new system goes live on May 6th, you would unfortunately not be able to make changes until then. Okay, and here's a question regarding roles. So will the different roles be reviewed? Yes, your administrators should be reviewing your users and who has roles today. The number one roles are who has current access. The two roles will be the ones that go live on May 6th. So when you're out there reviewing users, if they have a one role today, you'll want to assign the number two role. We do have one role that is changing names, which is the overnight line of credit draw role. That's changing names to advances. So you'll want to make sure that anyone who has that overnight line of credit draw role, which has the number one behind it, that you do assign the advances to. Only those who have the number two roles will have authority when we go live on May 6th. So just please make sure that you've reviewed all of your users and given them the roles that have the number two behind them so they won't lose any access when we go live. Here is a question. After the MTA is submitted, can it be printed somehow for our records? Yes, you will receive a copy of the fully completed document back, and it is in PDF format. So yes, you may print that or save it to your drive.
Real quick, I'll show a submission or a request for a current user. Okay, so these users that are in black have all the check marks as we would expect, right? This person has the rates two role. So again, if you want this particular person or a person to have the advances role beginning May 6th or the pay down role, all the number two roles, you have to make sure that you assign those roles to them prior to May 3rd. So I will walk through editing a current user, right? And I want to add in this case, the OLOC pay down, right? So I can add that role. I can add new safekeeping roles that we've added. And then here's a key. These are the wire roles are new. The safekeeping roles and the wire roles are new to members only, right? They've been governed by our agreements for years now, and we are putting these online. So again, if you need, and you do need someone with the wire role, make sure you assign these roles prior to May 3rd. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and hit submit and show you what the screen will look like. Okay. So here's the submission that I just sent there. This individual now, or this user is now in teal. And if I go to view the pending request that I just submitted, here's the cancel request. So this was the technical difficulty I had earlier. This shows that I cannot approve or reject my own request, but I can cancel it. Or if I want this to go through, I wait for one of my other admins at my institution after they receive their email notification to go in here and do the same thing, and they will have the approve or reject buttons, and then they can take the action. Once they've done that, then Brad's account in this case will go back to black, and he will have his roles added. One other point, and this was the technical difficulty I had, in this case, Kelly's account, right? There's an up arrow. You guys will see an up arrow, which means basically that this is pending FHLB review. And the reason it is, and the only reason we are involved is when a member admin is added, right? There's an additional step that we will review internally. We don't approve your admins, but we do want to review them to make sure everything looks good. Once we have done our review, we will push it through then, and the second admins will receive an email notification where they can go in and approve that admin. So if you see an up arrow and a name in teal, there's an action that we need to take. We will get through those as quickly as we can and get those pushed back out so that you can get your admin set up. Any other questions, Kelly?
Yes, there was one regarding wire roles. So the question is, oh goodness, and it's lots of questions coming in, so it's making my screen scroll down. Let me find that question again. Okay, so with the new wire rules being online, I'm assuming they mean roles being online, does that eliminate the callback feature to doing a wire? No, it does not. So the process in which you're doing wires is not changing. Just the way that you're authorizing people for wires is. So you will still call in to initiate your wire, provide your PIN, and we will still do callback verifications. So the wire process as you're doing it today will not change. Here's another question regarding the rates to roll. There, it appears to be new. There actually is a rates roll today. That gives you access to view our borrowing rates. And so the rates to option will just make sure that you maintain access to that once we go live on May 6th. The other questions, I've gotten a few of these about completing the MTA enrollment form, when that can be done. Actually, you can complete that now. So it's a two-step form. The first person completes pages 1 and 2, submits it to your board secretary. Even if your meeting is not for a couple of weeks, you can still complete that, send it on to your board secretary, and then on the day of the meeting, your board secretary can then complete page 3 and submit it back to us.
We're trying to get through the questions here, but I want to reiterate, if you do have questions, please reach out to us, right? Email or call. You can call the lending desk. That number is 800-809-2733. Kelly will likely get the call, but or transferred to her, but any of the staff on the lending desk or in our product administration department can help you. So please, if you have questions that you haven't answered or haven't gotten answered yet, or haven't thought about yet, please reach out to us and we'd be happy to answer those questions.
Okay, and here's a question I've gotten a couple of times. What about everyone who is assigned the base 1 role, and does it need an additional role assigned? Okay, currently today, the base role is the minimum required role. You must have that role in order to be able to even view the main page when you log into members only. With our new system, the base role will be automatic. So that role will actually drop off when we go live on May 6th. So you do not need to worry about having that role. If you set up a new user and you don't give them an additional role, then they would just have access to the public information, which we have when you log in on that first main page. Here's another question. The MTA, you'll find the link. It's a separate link. The MTA is on the last 3 pages of the large MTA agreement. It does have the sample across it. So the Adobe sign link, you'll find that on our landing page. It's also in the emails that we've been sending out. The email from February 6th, there is a separate link for that also. So that is where you will go to complete the form, and it must be completed through the Adobe sign link. No printing it out and signing it and sending it in. It must be completed through the Adobe sign link.
And I've navigated to that resource page that shows the Adobe Sign MTA as well as the master transaction agreement.
Here's another question regarding your administrators. So yes, currently today you do need 2 administrators in order to make any changes within the portal. One administrator will make those changes and the other administrator will approve. So if you do not currently have 2 administrators, please complete that administrator setup form, get that sent over to us so you can have your 2 admins and go ahead and complete reviewing your users, adding your roles. You can do that before your board meets to approve the MTA. Another question regarding the processes today. So no, nothing is changing regarding how you do your borrowing transactions, your wires, your collateral pledging process. It's just in the way that you are authorizing people now. With those paper agreements going away, all authority is being assigned through the portal.
Yeah, that's a good point. So whether you call in to do a transaction, for instance, if you call the lending desk to take down a term advance, the person that calls in must have that advances role assigned to them in members only in order for them to be allowed to borrow. But it also allows them privileges to do online transactions, right? So every role or privilege, authority, whatever you want to call that, in members only is done for online transactions and for calling in to do business with us. So everyone must have a members only account and must have the appropriate roles assigned for the transactions that they're trying to complete with us.
Okay, here's a question regarding the review for the Federal Home Loan Bank review. We only do the review if you are adding a user as an administrator. We go out and do the review, and then it comes back to you to approve. But if you have users who are currently in the teal color and they have the little pencil icon below, that means it's a user that still needs to be approved. So it means a change was made to that user and it still needs to be approved. And that would be an admin on your side that would need to approve that.
While we are requiring 2 member admins moving forward, we are highly recommending that you have at least 3, maybe even 4, for the times that folks are out of the office and you need to make a change. It, again, takes at least 2 member admins to affect that change. So again, just to help things move along a little bit quicker on your side, we are highly recommending, at least 3.
Here's another question about the 1 roles. So any role that has a number 1 behind it, yes, those roles will drop off, and the roles that have the 2 behind them will be the ones that will be in effect when we go live on May 6th. So anyone today that has a 1 role, make sure that you do assign the role that has the 2 behind it.
And again, this is what the new screen will look like starting May 6th. So all those 1s and 2s go away. And effectively, all of these check marks are the ones that had a 2 beside them prior to May 6th.
Here's a question about how do we reset password. If you do not remember your password or it's not working for you, from the login page, you will type in your username, and right below there's a link that says forgot password. You'll click on that and you'll go through the process where you'll get a code to your email. And then you will get a code to your cell phone, or you'll get a phone call depending on if you used your office number or your cell number. And then it will give you the option to create a new password without having to know what your old password was. Okay, another question about the 1 roles, asking why are we showing the 1s now if they're going away? We are doing that so those are the roles. Number 1 roles are in effect now. So that is what people are authorized for now up until May 6th. So if you have a 1 role, that means you're currently authorized for that, and you'll need to assign the 2 roles. So then you'll still have that same authority on May 6th.
Yeah, again, we've condensed 10 different agreements, authorization and resolution agreements, into the 1 master transaction agreement, right? And those 10 agreements effectively become null and void when the master transaction agreement goes into effect on May 6th.
Here's a question regarding phone number for support. You can call the lending desk, which is 800-809-2733. And for any questions you have regarding the adding roles, the MTA questions, that would be the number to call. And we're also available if you'd like to call or send us an email, and we can set up a time. If you'd like to have us help you walk through setting up your users, assigning the roles, we would be more than happy to do that. Just again, call the lending desk or send an email. From my email on Monday, you can reply to that with your questions. Or if you'd like, to set up a time for a call with me, just email me directly for that, and we'll be happy to help you do that. And here's a question about today's presentation. Yes, it is being recorded and it will be available on the landing page sometime shortly after this meeting ends today.
In addition to this webinar, we have posted some training guides out on that landing page, again, which you can find through members only. If you're logged in, the digital transformation block will link you directly to this page. And again, in this resource page has a lot of information on it. The 10 agreements that are going away once the MTA goes into effect, archived email communications that we've been sending out over the past few months, the agreements, the master transaction agreement, as well as the Adobe sign submission. And then again, here are the videos that we've put together to kind of walk through what we've done today, and hopefully can answer all of the questions. There's also a user manual that we've put together. If you'd rather read through, it's pretty in depth. So hopefully that would answer nearly every question that you would have regarding managing your users, assigning those authorizations, things of that nature. So hopefully this is a good resource for you. But again, as Kellee said, you can certainly reach out to us, call us, email us, whatever we need to do to help you ensure that you get these things set up and that you're ready to roll on May 6th. Looks like questions have slowed down in the chat. So we'll go through them again once we close the webinar and make sure that we get those folks answered. But thank you so much for attending. Thank you for your time today. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out to us. I'll give you the number one more time. Lending is 800-809-2733. Happy to answer your calls and any questions that you would have on this process. Or you can email us, as Kellee said, you can email her and one of us will make sure that you get contacted and get the answers that you need to make sure this process goes smoothly. So with that, again, thank you for your time. Have a great day and a great weekend.